All right, everybody, let's go ahead and get started. And welcome. My name is Jason Shepard. I'm a product marketing manager here with Intermedia, and we're going to go into a deep look at the new contact center product for you today. I'm not going to go into a long introduction because we have a lot of content to go over, and we're going to be pushing time today for sure. So let's go ahead and get into it. I'd like to introduce Reza Cameron. He's a Senior Director of Product Marketing here, and we'll be kicking off the presentation. Joe Hardy is the Director of Marketing with Cloud Contact Center, and he'll be also contributing to the presentation today. And we'll also have a couple of special guests who will be doing a demonstration, a full demonstration of the product today.
Perfect. Well, thank you so much, Jason, for the introduction. Jason, you can hear me okay?
I can.
Okay, perfect. Awesome. Well, thank you everyone for joining. I am super excited to have all of our partners that were able to attend this session to talk a little bit more about Contact Center and the launch of Contact Center that is happening today. Okay, so this is just a list of the topics that we're going to cover today. So a little bit more about contact center packages and pricing. We've got 2 live demos that are going to be held. So Lilia will be covering our Contact Center Express package, and then Andrew will be covering the Pro and Elite packages that we're offering, which are a little bit more higher end packages. We'll be covering the positioning for the Intermedia Contact Center, and then we're going to go through some sales support and next steps, and then finally Q&A. So without further ado, I'm going to hand this over to Joe, who is going to talk more about specifically about Contact Center and, again, the introductions to it. So, Joe, take it away.
Thank you, Reza. Good morning, everybody. Again, I'm jumping in at an exciting time here. There's a lot of press about what's going on today and yesterday with our launch of this product. Lots of people writing about us, and all for good reason. It's all about this Intermedia Contact Center. So this would be a throwback from the last webinar. You may remember this. This image is just meant to represent the far-reaching solution, far reach of the solution, from enabling any number of agent interactions, whether they're in-house, whether they're outsourced, whether they're remote, they're working from home. Also, the whole self-service mechanism that this allows. Self-service is the name of the game these days. And also making sure that you have calls going to the right people. We have a lot of skills-based and rules-based routing that allows certain types of calls to reach certain types of people. You want to have the right person answering certain questions, or you want to have the right people interacting with certain folks when they come in. On the customer side, again, massive flexibility here. We offer full omni-channel, and this, of course, spans everything from email, phone, web, social media, the whole array. And everything is wrapped up in a suite of management applications that allows for everything from supervisor tools and QA enhancements to end-to-end reporting, very deep dive in reporting, actually. QA is a big part of the management tools we offer. And of course, all that is wrapped into our whole workforce optimization suite. And then on the integration side, there's a lot of companies that want to be able to integrate this solution with their mainstream CRMs, whether it be Zendesk, Salesforce, Dynamics. But when we mention CRM, we also refer to CRM-like platforms in other industries, like healthcare, for example, has their own flavor of that type of platform, like Cerner and Epic. Those are examples of CRM-type platforms in other industries, and we also facilitate integration capabilities in that area as well. So just to move on here, and if I'm going through some of this a little fast, it's because I want to give our demo presenters the full time slot, because we have some very exciting things to run through. Again, a bit of a throwback from the last webinar. We just want to refresh your memory on what the 3 packages are. So we got Contact Center Express, and of course that is fully integrated with Unite. It offers everything from basic inbound voice queues, supervisor functions, etc. It's important to know that even though this is our introductory product, this is not limited in any way. It's not limited to size of business either. Folks could be running a very large organization, but they may have relatively simple needs that this solution would fulfill very easily. So when positioning this to your target markets, bear in mind, this is not something only for small business. in terms of the Pro and Elite, these are the only thing that one of the main things that differs them from Unite is the fact that they are phone system agnostic. They can be sold with Intermedia Unite. They can be sold without Intermedia Unite. But Express is fully integrated with Intermedia Unite, so it's available only with that plan. We have a slide further down that really delves into some of the positioning and some of the targeting aspects of all of these. So I don't want to replicate that. I don't want to repeat myself too much. I will move on and I will touch on some of the features in that other slide, just because it's more relevant on the positioning and the targeting side. Next slide here, we have pricing. So I'm not going to speak too much about this. I'll let the eyes fall on the respective areas that they should fall on. Now, want to hand the controls over to Lilia, who is anxiously waiting to give you a live demo of Contact Center Express.
Thank you so much. Thank you. I'm super excited to be here today and to show you the Contact Center Express. So let's get started. Okay, so now we have launched our Contact Center Express solution, and all of you will be able to see an additional tab in the control panel. And if you click on the Contact Center tab, the new tab, you will see all the three packages with a short description. Contact Center Express that goes on top of Intermedia Unite, Contact Center Pro, and Contact Center Elite. Contact Center Pro and Elite, we will have a demo dedicated to it a little bit later. So now we will focus on the Contact Center Express. So the solution is tightly integrated with the Unite product, and you can onboard your customers just in several clicks. Let's do that just right now. So we select the package, the Contact Center Express package, and now we can see the Contact Center tabs, the Contact Center solution, and here we have the opportunity to select which users will be Contact Center Express users and activate the users right away. So this is what you need to do for your Contact Center Express users provisioning. It's so simple, it's just several clicks. Okay, the next tab, the Groups tab. So here you can create your Contact Center groups, and the interface is pretty similar to the Hunt group, so it will be easier for you to learn about the Contact Center and onboard your customers even faster. And the Reports tab dedicated to the reports, and here you can select your target group and see both active and historical reports. At the same time, we have an amazing feature that allows you to onboard your existing customers just in one click. For example, if you have an existing customer who wants to be on the Contact Center Express platform and they have already set up and running the Hunt group, you just open the Hunt group general settings. You can see here the banner and the button to upgrade the current Hunt group to the Contact Center Express group. Let's do that. So, in just one click, you upgraded your Hunt group to the Contact Center group. And the only thing you need to do is to add manager to this group. So the manager or the supervisor, this is the user who will be managing, monitoring the Contact Center Express group, and this user will have an additional tab in the Unite desktop application. You can see it here, and supervisor will have a lot of amazing features to be able to take care of the group. So what do we have here? Here we have the name of the group. So if you are a supervisor for multiple groups, you can select the target group here. You can see the active calls in your group. So if I get the call in the group, I immediately will see it here. Yeah, just like this. On the Agents tab, we can see a list of agents with their real-time statuses. So here you saw that the agent Daria had her phone running, and now she is on phone. So let's see. Yeah, this is true. We can see that the agent answered the call. We can see the basic information about that call, and we have the ability as a supervisor to connect to this call. You have 3 modes here how to connect to the call: monitor, whisper, and barge. So just in one click, I connected to the call in a monitor mode. It means that I can hear everything that the agent or the customers are saying, but nobody can hear me. And for example, if I want to suggest something to the agent, I can switch to the whisper mode. And now I'm whispering to the agent, saying something that can improve the customer experience. Or if I need to be in that conversation, I can switch to the barge mode and talk to both the customer and the agent. So I can even stay on the call if an agent disconnected from the call. But let's just leave the call as is. And another wonderful thing that I would like to show you, this is the real-time status update. So now when the agent ends the call, we will see how the agent state is changing. We saw the wrap-up state, we see the ready state, and if an agent receives another call, we will see the running status. Okay, let me share several more amazing features. So, if we click here, we can see that we have reports and wallboard, the real-time dashboard. If I click here, you can see the real-time dashboard with all the up-to-date information. Just to compare, we have 1 call, 1 agent logged in, and 1 agent is talking to a customer at the moment. So, yeah, we have 2nd call, and our real-time dashboard immediately updated with the new information. So it's amazing. Also, we have statistics here at the bottom, and this statistic shows how the group is doing today from midnight to the current point. Okay, so let's launch the reports. Okay, so here we can see the reports. We can see the active report for the entire group. We can see the list of agents with their statuses. We can see Daria on phone. We can see the current statistics for today. We also can run a report for the particular agent, and we can see that Daria is working hard today. She has 15 calls, and yeah, she's currently on phone. Also, we have the historical reports here, and we can also have the report for the particular date, for example, I don't know, last month. And we can see all the data for the last month for the entire group. And here we have a nice tooltips that provides you the all information regarding the graph, all the points, everything you need to know. More reports here, so everything that you need to know about your group. Also, it is possible to run a report for the particular agent, and here we have a different set of metrics, but also everything that we need for the particular agent. Okay, so this is it. This was the short demo of the Contact Center Express, and thank you, Daria, who was my partner. And also, I would like to thank our beta partners who took part in our Contact Center Express beta, because I can see several familiar names in this webinar. So thank you so much. It was so helpful. Thank you.
All right, thank you, Lilia. So we're gonna get back mission control here. We're gonna fire back up the deck in a minute here. So before we move on to Andrew's demo, we're just gonna recap just on a single slide what Lilia just went through here. As soon as this loads. A lot of it. So everything that Lilia just went through is basically summarized on this here. She went through host pilot enablement, hunt groups to Contact Center Express, adding managers and agents, live agent supervisor, active and historical reporting. We don't expect everything to stick right away, but these demos are intended just to showcase the capabilities of the software. We actually had a question on the first webinar. Someone asked, "Hey, is this actual Contact Center software? Is it full-featured software? Is that what this is?" And that's exactly what this is here. You know what? This solution is full-featured, well over 200 features. It offers end-to-end. We have feature parity with every competitor out there, and more. So it takes a while for us to go through all that. So what you're seeing here, very summarized, brief demos. An average demo takes an hour or more. And we normally have to have a pre-demo questionnaire in hand before we go into depth in certain areas, just so that we could know what a customer may want us to zero in on. So this is just to recap what Leah just went through. And now we're going to hand off to Andrew, who's going to demo the Pro and Elite packages. Andrew, over to you.
All right, Joe, thank you very much. And thank you, Lilia. That was an awesome presentation. I love the Express product. It is absolutely cool. I love how powerful it is, and embedded in Unite and Elevate, which is awesome. Joe, are you seeing my screen?
Yep, we got
high level
screen. Yeah, so you can go ahead and share. Perfect. Yeah. We're seeing your screen. You can go ahead and load the demo now. Yeah.
Thanks, Joe. So what we're doing, what I'm going to cover, and we have a very short period of time, so I'm not going to be able to get into a full in-depth demo for Pro and Elite for you guys today, but I am going to take you through sort of high-level things, and I will pepper in some differentiators for you guys to take to the bank. We're going to look at the agent console, which is, agents log in. We'll take a live call even. I do have some dashboards and wallboards queued up, what we like to call managing in real time. I'll walk you through the admin portal, and not an in-depth walkthrough, but just to kind of show it, mostly focusing on our recording modules and reporting. And obviously, for those of you that are going to want to see more and ask more in-depth questions, obviously reach out to your intermediate sales rep so that they can book some time, and we can obviously walk you through it. So I'm going to start with the agent view. So you should see the agent client on my screen. Now, I notice a lot of friendlies and names that I recognize in the attendee list as well. And for those of you that this will be your first time seeing the new, refreshed, updated user interface that we released today. So this is what we're looking at. This is the agent console. And one of the things I like to tell, especially our partners, about this console that's a little bit different than our Express product is that this is actually phone system device agnostic. So when it comes to selling this product, it doesn't need to be sold necessarily with a Unite or Elevate client, although we prefer it. It's wonderful. But you're going to run into people that are running Skype for Business or Teams in their office, and they need a call center solution. This will work beautifully, right? You're going to have folks that are on Cisco or Legacy, Avaya, or IPPBX type products, and they're going to want to keep that phone system and still need the extra functionality, omni-channel experience, chat and email over the top. So, the idea here is an agent's username and password really sort of defines their profile, the priority of calls, those sorts of things. The phone number just becomes the 10-digit DID where the agent is sitting and where we're going to route the call. So I'm going to log in. I've got my Unite client on my other desktop here, so I'm going to just log in with that DID. But again, if this was my Teams DID or a Cisco client, any phone number would work. As I sign in, and this is the agent console, we really find it important as this updates here, we find it important to inform agents, right, in terms of what's going on around them. So there is a supervisor console that looks a little bit more elaborate than this, but in this one in particular, as it updates here, it'll present to me all of the queues that I'm in. So it's going to list all of my queues, and I can sort them, of course. So you can see here that I'm part of, three voice queues: support, customer service, and payments. These are pretty standard ones, but I'm also part of a web chat queue that's connected to my website, so customers can come in and chat with me from the website. I'm also part of an SMS queue and an email queue, so folks can send me an email and we can queue up those emails just like a voice call or an SMS interaction or a chat interaction, and we can do all of that through a skill-based sort of routing schema. So when I log in here, it presents to me all of the queues that I'm in. It tells me which type of queue. Obviously, if there's any calls or interactions waiting, I can see it. I always like to point out that I've got an email sitting here for 307 days. And the reason that's red is because it's an old email and I should probably address it. It's violated a threshold that we've set. And then I can also see who's logged in and available. And I think this is tremendously important because you're going to run into folks that don't work in the same building or office, and they're not sitting next to one another. And empowering these agents with this knowledge allows them to say, hey, I'm the only guy logged in. Maybe I'm just going to wait till 4 more people show up to take lunch or whatever it might be. So this is a little kitschy, but I'm going to make a live call for you guys. I'm going to make it from my cell phone so you can kind of follow along. I'll put it on speaker. There's nothing, earth-shattering about my prompts or anything. It's just basic stuff. But it'll allow you to sort of understand the call flow. So the first thing that's going to happen is it's going to hit my auto attendant. And when the call hits our auto attendant, either based on the number the customer has dialed or the queue that they've selected, we know in a millisecond, right, who's available, which agents are logged in and available, who has the right skills, and basically we know where we're going to send that call immediately. And if there's no agents available, and I've just clicked a button to put myself on break as an aside, we queue the call, right? And then when the call is queued, you get a whole bunch of awesome queue treatments, estimated wait time, positioning queue, callback options, and even variable dequeuing options based on different, parameters. So I'm going to make this call. I'm going to leave it on busy on break for a second, just so you can kind of see what it looks like. But again, I'll put it on speaker. So I'm going to just hit Q3 if it lets me. There we go. So what you're going to see, the customer's on hold now, and you're going to see as the system updates, the agent that's logged in or multiple agents logged in are going to be able to see that call sitting in the queue. And what happens here with this application is it's really pinging our server and updating for the agent's availability in real time. So you can see that there's a support call waiting now for 7 seconds. If I put it on, there's a queue treatment that I've introduced, and as soon as I hit OK, I'm available, it's going to send me the call. Now it's going to ring on my Unite phone, so bear with me while I answer that. It's a very loud ringtone. There we go. Put myself on mute. So the second I picked up that call, and just to kind of show you guys, I'm down here below on my Unite client, it put me in busy on call status, right? So it knows immediately, even though I'm on my cell phone and I could be using any kind of phone possible, it knows immediately when I answer. I'm not going to get any other interactions, obviously, while I'm on the call, and it measures my time. So every single status change, every single click inside the application has a report, has something behind it, an activity, something that we can track. So this is a support call. It came in on my, obviously came in from my cell phone. There's my cell phone ID. And you guys didn't really see this, but in the background, and I'll just open it up for you, it also opened up my Salesforce account that matches my phone number. And we talk about this a lot in demonstrations. We're really, really, we get excited about it, but we're really open to integrating with customer CRMs or third-party databases, as Joe mentioned, ERPs, those sorts of things. So natively, we do Salesforce. Obviously, we use it internally. But as that call came in, it took my phone number and just opened up that account. So in real time, right, as a call is being presented, as an agent, I'm in that account. I know the guy's history. I can look up all the notes. Before I even answer the call, I've got some great information. So whether it's Salesforce, Zendesk, Dynamics, or any kind of strange custom built off the shelf sort of CRM, as long as your customer partner, whatever, can provide us with REST APIs, web service APIs, we can, do the work to embed and do things like a screen pop or make a routing decision, right? A call comes in, we can identify through the CRM if it's a $10,000 customer or a $5 customer. Maybe this customer owes you a bunch of money. Let's send them immediately to collections and we can collect that data. So really, really powerful when you start introducing the CRM integration. So back to my client. I'm still in the live call. And even though I've answered this on my Unite client, we use all of this to manage the call. Okay, so hold, transfer, and with the transfer functionality, by the way, you can do things like direct to queue transfer. Now I'm the only agent logged in, so it doesn't look that impressive, but I can tell, right, if there's any calls, agents, or availability in every other queue, which I think is very important. We also include survey IVRs. You're going to find this a tremendously popular feature because people really want to track CSAT scores, customer satisfaction, net promoter. And we do lots of cool things with surveys. And we can get into that in a deeper level. And the fourth option, which isn't here, but we often see a lot of our partners using it, is payment IVRs and private data collection IVRs. PCI compliance is a real problem, right? A lot of folks are still taking credit cards over the phone. It's terrible. So having a payment IVR where a customer can go in directly, never have to speak to an agent, make a payment with your payment processor, and really deliver an ultimate PCI experience, I think that's a tremendous option and tool. Everything that we do in this, in this application is tracked, and I mentioned that to you guys. So when I take that call out and maybe I transfer it to somebody in my phone book, I'm going to transfer it over to Larry Brown in product. There's a report that shows I took that call and I transferred it to Larry in product and his DID, and we can even keep holding and recording that call after it's transferred. So it's really important that noting all the activity in this app is definitely going to generate activity reports. The other thing in here, there's just really two more. This record call button, this record, obviously, however it says that the call is being recorded. We normally don't include this button for agents. So the idea is I can stop and start recording if I'm an agent, if this button is present. And there's certainly really good use cases for that. But typically, we don't want to give agents that kind of power control. It's a terrifying thought. So we normally just record everything by default. This button isn't normally something we include unless asked. And we encrypt the files, keep them available in the cloud for download or streaming, and then we delete them after a time-based period. So let's say 30 days is kind of our default retention. At the end of the 30 days, we'll delete the files, or the customer can have them available for download, or we can work on extended recording, et cetera. So recording is really important. And obviously, if a customer comes to you and says, hey, when my agent is taking a credit card, can I manually pause the recording? Of course they can, but that is a terrifying thought, just as an aside. Last but not least is the classification option. I love this tool because it's really about building out your metrics and analytics, right? It's all about outcomes when we talk about classification. So obviously we know that this customer called in on the support queue. I have his name. I even have a call recording, spoke to this agent, but we don't always know the outcome of the call, right? Just because they hit support doesn't necessarily mean that the outcome was problem resolved. So this drop-down menu here, and every single one of these fields is customizable. I've only edited a couple just to kind of show you, but this will either pop up at the end of the call, or the agent can do it in the middle of the call. And it's all about, hey, what happened on the call? Well, this guy called in obviously on support, not patient care, but had wanted some information about an overdue bill, and the resolution was I made a payment. And that's not a complicated classification by no means. Obviously, I've left a lot of information on the table, but the idea is I'm going to append this data to the call record. You can run reports against it, and even when you're looking for call recordings, anything that's been captured here can be used to trim and find that call recording. I know there was a question earlier about flagging. I need a supervisor to listen to my call or help me in an emergency. This system doesn't have that functionality, but it does allow agents to flag calls to a supervisor. So let's just say you did have an angry customer. This would actually email the supervisor in the account with a link to the call recording, and obviously they would take action based on their outcomes. The other thing in here that's trackable is the note section. So anything I type in here is searchable. So I can type in, this is a note for the webinar, and if I wanted to search for a call specifically around webinar, it would pull up this interaction. I'm going to hit end on the call, and I'm actually going to hit end on my cell phone so you can kind of see how instantaneous this is. Boom. The second I hung up, I'm put in wrap up. And this is a really important condition. Everybody goes in wrap up automatically at the end of an interaction, but we have the ability to throw a little auto timer on there. So you'll see at the end of this 10-second timer, I'm forced to available and I'm back in the queue. So just an aside, this is a really cool feature, but you can turn that on or off, make it longer or shorter, but it's all about forcing the agent back into the queue because the agents will forget. Before I jump out of here and into the dashboards, the last little thing that I want to sort of share with you guys is the statuses. So we have all these automatic statuses. If I get an email, I'm busy on an email, right? If I get a chat request, I'm busy chatting, and so on and so forth. But you can create custom statuses, and these inform not only the agent's availability, but the monitor page and even reports if needed. So if I want to just track my time juggling swords, as I like to do, there's a status for that if you create it, and it's very easy to do. Okay, so I'm going to pop out of here now. I'm going to go into our dashboards monitor page, if you will, the managing in real time. And I'm just going to pop into, I got to open up a new browser here. There we go. So for those of you that haven't seen it, this is our new landing page. And it's a little bit different than it was. Obviously, there's a little bit of a change there. And we've gone full icons. And everything is really sort of drag and drop from a sort of from a menuing perspective. So you have the top menu where you can actually create your own list of favorites, right? If any of you guys remember the old config menu, there's a lot of stuff in there that was a little bit odd. I've always found it strange. So this just really focuses me now specifically on the features and functionality that I'm going to use on a daily basis. But all of these icons have access to the same similar menus that you guys will remember, downloads and support, etc. So depending on your profile in this product, and this is a really important differentiator for you guys, when we look at invoicing or we look at setting up an account, we're looking at how many agents are going to log into this system concurrently. So we don't look at named agents, but concurrently logged in agents throughout the month. So the high water mark. So, if you have 100 agents, but only 30 ever work at the same time, then your bill is for 30 agents, right? That's what we're going to look at. And it opens up a lot of, value for you guys in terms of we don't have a license, or there's no need for a license for supervisors or administrators or IT folks. In fact, anybody that has a user profile can log into this portal, and depending on the role you've assigned them, they'll have different levels of access, right? So for today, I've logged in as a sysadmin, so I can kind of show you everything. But if I was just an agent here, I wouldn't have any access to any of these, these pages, unless obviously you gave me permission. So from here, I'm going to pull down, my monitor page, which you can see my metrics and executive dashboard, reports and recordings, etc. So I've already opened them. So I'm gonna kind of click through here. This one, which is the most dramatically reskinned dashboard we have, the executive dashboard, is a really nice high-level summary, right? You can quickly look at a glance and see everything that's going on in your call center at a really quick glance, right? Obviously, I can see my queue level metrics. I've got a 33-second average wait time, a 90% answer rate. My average max wait time is only a minute, or likely just less than a minute, and rounded up. My service level, and I can filter all of this stuff out by queue or by teams based on the drop-down menu. The one widget that I love here, and we're apparently not using it today, and I'm not sure why, but it's this classification widget. If you're tracking outcomes in real time, the classifications, the dispositions, this will update in real time with those outcomes. And I love the fact, if you're running a sales org, or if you're running a tech support org and you're tracking tickets open versus tickets closed, right? A great little bar graph gives you an indicator of what those classifications are. This dashboard is not interactive, so you can't click on anything and be taken anywhere, but it is meant to give you visual cues in a wallboarding scenario. And so because there's no license required for this or any of our wallboards, if you have multiple teams, multiple locations, and this will often come up, every single one of those teams' locations can have their own version of this running. And specifically this next dashboard, which is the metrics, this one allows you to actually customize these tiles so that they will change color based on thresholds and metrics that you set. So we'll go from white, where everything is happy, to yellow, which is a danger zone, to red, which is a violation of that metric. And so you can see here that the 44-minute long handle time that we had today, it was a violation of whatever threshold. Now I can't, click on that call or even, anything in real time and be taken, but I do know now that visually there was a problem, right? There was a long call, and maybe I can go in and take some action. So the top is all really about your queues. You got your real-time data on the left. You've got your cumulative data on the right, so since midnight. And then down below, you've got your teams dashboard. And same sort of rules, right? You've got just different levels of metrics for tracking, but you can set thresholds here for every single one of these tiles to obviously, again, change color based on your metrics and what you want to see. And then the very last one here, and I'm trying to keep this short and brief for you guys. This is the monitor page, and this is actually interactive. I can click through and do things on this page. The top level columns, by the way, are all cumulative data. So we do global stats, total IVR stats. You can see we have multiple IVRs there, and then total queue stats. In our world, a queue is a skill. And then the next two columns are the ones that we interact with. So I can, interact with agents and calls in queue here from this view, and I can interact with my agents directly from this view. This is a cool page because, right out of the gate, your eyes are immediately drawn to the three folks that are on break. And, they've all been on break for over an hour. Well, two of them have anyway. And that's clearly a violation of a break threshold, which should only be 3 minutes. And so this kind of threshold alert really gives me, as a former sort of call center manager, I love being able to see this because, one, it alerts me that there's something going sideways. But also in the background, if I was to pick on Adam for a second, if Adam opened up his CCA, his condition would also be read. So Adam also knows that he's violated a threshold that we've set. Nothing bad happens to these guys. It's just a, it's just a red indicator. But we often see partners put this at the front of their call center as a way of almost publicly shaming their agents, right, into staying compliant and whatnot. The other thing you see in here outside of the thresholds is all of the agent activity. So calls answered, missed, transferred, outbound, chats and emails answered or missed, as well as all their stats for the day, including when they started their shift. All of this is available in reports, and we'll get into that near the end. But from here, I can log people in or out. I can text message my agents, maybe a one-way message from the administrator saying, there's going to be a fire alarm or something. I could change their availability, and I can live monitor. And this one's a little bit different than the Express product because you can live monitor from anywhere. As long as you're logged into this page and you have a phone number that we can reach, right? Any phone number, we just call you on that number and you're silently listening to both the agent and the caller. So it's very simple to use. If you decide you want to get into coaching, you can actually whisper in the agent's ear as a first step, or even barge in, interrupt the call, remove the agent completely. Now, just keying in your number here is a little bit risky. So we actually work with partners to have sort of an authorized extensions list here to make sure that obviously you can only monitor from certain phone numbers, because putting in a wrong number will literally call you at the wrong number, right? So there's a little bit of nuance there, but very, very powerful, right, in terms of what you're able to do. Okay, I'm going to pop out of here. Again, being respectful of time, I think I'm almost out of it. I'm going to jump into my admin portal. My demo account, and I'm just going to show you guys. I'm going to log in as a sysadmin to show you. I'm just going to walk you through just a couple of high-level features and functions that you'll be able to sort of manage in the admin account. And again, I put all my favorites up here. These are kind of the most important ones. But there's a couple of things that you guys will find important. And at the agent level specifically, when we look at an agent, and again, because everything is based on concurrent logins, each agent is going to need their own sort of security setting, their own role. And we give you some default roles, right, where you can have an administrator role where everything is possible, right down to an agent role where, very limited access. But you can do things like, I don't know, we get this all the time. Can I let my agents access recordings? And it's like, sure. But if you're an agent, you can only access your own recordings. And this hierarchy starts to kick in, which is useful. The other thing that you guys should be aware of is how we actually route calls and interactions. We use skill-based routing. So if I click on my own name here, and in our world, a queue and a skill is one and the same. So you can see here's my voice queues. I've got a chat queue. I've got an email queue. And, I just check off the ones that I want that particular agent to be in. So if I uncheck email tickets, I'm not going to be part of that email queue. And if I check it off, I am. So very simple. The default for routing interactions is longest agent waiting. So if everybody has the same priority, right, it'll go to whoever's waiting longest. But if you give somebody a higher priority in an interaction, it means that they're going to get those interactions over and above a lower priority. So it really gets you the ability to open up these little mini skill groups, right? And there's a million different ways you can assign these, but obviously you want to put your best agent first. But in a pinch, if you're in the sales queue, rather than let a customer wait 5 minutes, why not route the call to another agent who's maybe only marginally qualified, but better than maybe letting calls in queue, right? So you can really create mini skill groups, and this is how we inform the auto attendant layer, the ACD, how we decide where we're going to route the call as soon as the call hits our auto attendant. So very important functionality. As I scroll down through here, and I'm just going to go back to my home page, there's a few other just high-level customizations I want to show you, and I'm going to get into the recordings. But little things like inserting an emergency bulletin on the fly, right? There's a stormy day. You want to insert a message that says, hey, it's a stormy day. We're experiencing longer than average call times. It's as quick, and again, this is something your end clients can do, but as simple as clicking on the stormy day bulletin and activating it. Now everybody's going to hear that message, right? And so there's a lot of cool functionality there in terms of letting your end clients manage this day in their day-to-day. No one no longer needs a degree in Cisco to manage this product, right? It is very simple and intuitive. So voice recordings comes with a really powerful sort of features and a couple of modules. So anybody, again, that has permission to log in and actually access voice recordings are obviously going to be able to log in here. If you don't have permission, you won't ever even be able to see the permission to access voice. And basically, any type of call can be searched in this interface. Incoming, outgoing, direct, right? I'm going to search for a date range, but if you have the name of the caller, their phone number, the queue, any of the classification data, even the note section, right? I could just search webinar and get that call. You could search by team or by agent, and you really get three main sections back, or three main sort of options back. And these will vary depending on the packages that your customers choose, whether it's Pro and Elite. But the number one option, obviously, listen. And when I click on this, There it goes. It actually opens up a streaming file for me. So I don't have a download option, but there is a download option if that's what your end customers need. We just, default to streaming, a little bit more PCI and HIPAA compliant if you can't share files. And what we're going to do is we're going to keep these in the cloud for 30 days or whatever our retention policy is for that customer, and then we're going to purge them at the end of that. So in the time that they're available, you can come in and look for any call. Obviously, this is the call we took a little bit earlier. So there's my note and there's my, my classification data. Now, if I wanted to, and you guys will love this, if I want to watch an interaction, you have screen recording turned on, you can actually have not just one monitor, but all of your agents' monitors will be screen recorded during an interaction. This is what I did a little bit earlier, and you're going to see that there's actually I've got 3 monitors connected. So there's a lot of stuff going on there, but you're able to download this or stream it and listen and watch what the agent was doing while they're on the interaction. So you can kind of see here, I've turned the watch feature to only come on every 3rd or 4th interaction. So it's not 100% screen recording. You can play with those options. You can also turn the frame rate up or down. You can turn the resolution just to obviously not overwhelm your local resources, right? Because we're going to use the local PC to record this and then upload it to the cloud. And then the last option, and then I'm going to show you guys reports, but this is really, we call this quality assurance, quality monitoring, evaluations, lots of different terms. But ultimately, usually in even 2, 3, 4 seat call centers, there's somebody listening to the agent's calls and making sure they're doing and saying all the right things. And this tool helps keep those agents compliant. So I've clicked on an interaction. I already made a fake sort of sample template for my quality assurance. I'm going to hit start, and really it's just a form. I get to fill out. Did the agent use a standard greeting? They did a good job. Did the agent, you remember these from back in the day, some of these are a little bit funny. Did we allow the caller to speak without interruption? Well, that's why we have webinars, so we can't get interrupted. But the most important thing in here is this media player. And I really love this tool because I used to, be in this business a long, long time ago. And sometimes closing the loop with agents on feedback is hard because they get sensitive and there's a little he said, she said. This particular tool allows me to annotate the file. So I can tell the agent, and I'm all about positive feedback this week. So I can say, you are awesome. And I'm going to add that note right to this file. In the end, when I'm finished scoring the agent, they get notified. And the agent actually gets access to this annotated file. And they can click where you said you're awesome, or you told me I was awesome, and it goes right to that part of the file. So it's a really neat way to obviously give feedback, positive or negative, right, and close that evaluation loop. So these files get deleted after your retention period, but the report card, the actual results of the evaluation, we keep in perpetuity for you. So as long as you're a partner. And then last but not least, I'm going to jump into reports. And reports is going to be a very quick conversation. Obviously there's a lot going on with reports, but from a historical perspective, you can run net new historical reports. You can look at your own previously run reports, or you can schedule reports all from in here. I'm just going to show you guys just a high level walkthrough of reports. And there's a few thousand canned reports in this library that we have. We've been developing reports for 20, 25 years. And really every report we create is actually available to end clients. It's just a little overwhelming to sort of unlock them all at once, right? So what we do is when we're working with your partner, your customer to onboard you, we're also working with them to uncover and unlock the reports that they need. So anything from, and you guys can kind of get a general here, but we have this catch-all section we call the general, where you get things like abandoned calls, voicemails. You've got queue level reports, daily, weekly, monthly, yearly, agent level reports, daily, weekly, monthly, yearly, agent login and out time. There's just a bunch of different versions. But if there's for some reason a report that you need, right, and we don't have it in our canned section or something we've already developed, we will work with you and develop a custom report for your customer. And you can see we do a lot of custom reporting, right? It's something that's really important to us. So if I was just to run a quick report, I'm not going to get too in depth, but I just want you to see it. We'll go weekly agent activity because it's simple. You're going to have different parameters, obviously. Date range is usually one of them. So I'll just back this up a little bit. But I could, filter by team or maybe filter by agent. When I run the report shows up in my report section. Obviously, I can email it as well if I wanted to. And once the report's ready, you click on it, you get an on-screen version of that report. From there, so let this thing load. There you go. So this is just a demo account, but you can see it's summarizing week by week my agent's activity. And I can see everything from all of my calls, voicemails, emails, chats, all of that, my total, login time, my speed of answer, my start and end time. And every single report we have, you can export to PDF, Excel, or the raw data to a CSV. And we really recommend that you especially regularly run reports, add them to our schedule tool, right? So anything that you want to schedule, hourly, daily, weekly, monthly, can be obviously run automatically based on your parameters and sent out to a group of people. So that was a very abbreviated. I think I may have even went a little bit longer than I was supposed to. So I appreciate your support and attention. And I guess I'm going to throw this back to you, Joe.
Thank you, Andrew. All right, so we're going to pull back up the deck here. Is anybody's head spinning yet?
Mine is.
All right. I'm gonna wrap up a couple of things very quickly here. Again, this is what this webinar was about today. This was all about the demos, and you guys everybody got a good taste of it here. Now, if we could just if I could just leave everybody with two things to keep in mind today, it's the two things I'm about to bring up here. One, you're going to make money selling this product. This came from the last webinar. I'm not going to run through this in detail because we have 17 or 18 questions in queue and we want to jump on them. But the bottom line is we already have partners selling this product from the legacy Telax base. There's partners that within the context of about a year or so, they're pulling in 125 grand in annual gross margins. So this is you're going to make money selling this product, and there's a reason for that. And that brings me to my next point here, which is the other thing I want to leave you with today is that this solution solves a problem at the very core of every single business, and that is the need to provide a positive customer experience, a superior customer experience. This is very much the new battlefield today. Right? This is no longer the days where you can win via price wars or based on your geographic coverage, or maybe you have the best product out there. There's always somebody else coming up with something simple, and there's always going to be a limit to how far you can go in a price war. But when it comes to customer experience and customer care and customer service, that's very much a new battlefield. So in terms of the positioning of this product here, that's really exactly it. That's the problem it's solving. That's the level that we're going to. All the fancy bells and whistles that Lilia and Andrew just went through, at the root of all that, all those features are meant to solve the problem of providing the best customer experience that a company can provide. And you're going to hear me say company and business a lot, but it's not limited to that. We're talking also about hospitals, schools. It could be civil services. A customer doesn't have to be a customer. A customer could be a patient. A customer could be a citizen. A customer could be a student, and so forth, right? So in terms of Express, we touched on it before. This is meant for businesses looking to build or grow or improve a sales or support function. This is ideal for people who may have reached the ceiling on, maybe they're using an auto attendant. They reached the ceiling on its capabilities. They may need an IVR. They may need callback features. They're not going to get that with what they're using. They may want to differentiate from their competition. People are running out. Companies are running out of ways in which to do so. This is the way to do it. Customer types for this product are very, very wide ranging. It could be anything from a pizza shop to a auto service garage or a mortgage broker, everything in between. And size has nothing to do with the customer types for this product. It could be a large entity, it could be a small entity. It's all based on what they intend to use the solution for. We have much deeper sales tactics and strategies and skills to discuss. We're not going to get into all that here. We have things left for other webinars, but we just want to touch on the surface here. The next one, of course, would be Pro. Before I move off of Express, again, just a reminder, this is tightly integrated with Unite, so it's available only with a Unite plan. This also is sold on a named agent basis, which means it's the licenses are specific to a named agent, as opposed to on a concurrent basis where there's a finite number of licenses and they could mix and match across the team, but can't pass that finite number. Pro, of course, so this is for folks that are looking for IVR type services. They may need a deeper level of reporting and analytics to make key business decisions. They may need skills-based or rules-based routing. They're going to have one of the things that's important to note with this one is that, again, the target customer types are very, very wide. You're going to see this across all. This is why I made the differentiation, or I made the comment that This is solving a problem at the very core of the business. It doesn't have to be a business; it could be anything else. So that is why these customer type categories here are super wide, and it's not limited to what we have in there. When we talk about credit unions and medical private practices, pharmacies, etc., it goes well beyond that. But these are just examples, right? In terms of signs of a target for these folks, it could be someone who wants to route certain types of calls to certain types of people. We talked about the skills-based and the rules-based routing. That allows people to route calls to, let's say you have somebody on your, let's say you're running a help desk, and you have somebody on there that's super at answering very technical questions. You don't want to route a call that's supposed to go to that person to somebody else and frustrate the customer on the other side of the phone. So these are examples of what could be done with this type of solution. The customer may also need different types of reports to make data-driven business decisions. Andrew was showing a little bit about the reports that we have, and what he showed was just canned reports. We can also do any number of custom reports. A lot of companies come back to us and ask for this, especially in migration scenarios where they may have migrated from an Avaya solution or 5.9, 8x8, whatever, and they may have been accustomed to certain reports that we're getting on that platform. If on a rare opportunity it's not available in one of our canned reports, we can do a custom one, no problem. We do it all the time. And then finally on Elite. So those of you who have made the first webinar would have heard me refer to this as the Rolls Royce of the packages, and that's very much what it is. This is full omni-channel solution, advanced reporting, workforce optimization, everything, dynamic outreach. It's for organizations who need a full-featured omni-channel solution. They may already be handling inbound and outbound communications over multiple channels, but they have workforce optimization needs. They may also need to conduct outreach, different types of outreach exercises and campaigns to their base. And when I say campaigns, I mean promotional and marketing campaigns. This feature has legs well outside of just customer service and actually into the marketing realm. Signs of a target could be high toll-free users. They may want to integrate their existing CRM so they could profile their callers. Again, they may want to do different flavors of outreach. And maybe not just in the business world. Maybe it might be a hospital that wants to do patient reminders and scheduling reminders to people who are coming in on a regular basis. So again, deep possibilities on the customer type side, but bear in mind that this is the high end of the three. What do we have next here? So at this point, we're going to hand over to Reza. We have 3 minutes. We still have to cover a few things, but most importantly, we want to jump into some of those questions.
Thank you so much, Joe, and thank you, everybody. We will run through the last couple of slides here very quickly, and I will let you know if it's okay for everybody else. I think we're going to go a little bit over time from the webinar. I want to ensure for the partners that have specific questions that we address those questions, and there's a lot of interesting questions that are coming up. So as long as you're willing to stay a little bit longer, we're willing to stay a little bit longer. My last couple of slides here, and I've reiterated this point before. Look, I'm not going to tell, we are going to be offering all the great things that we've offered with Unite in terms of support for contact center. So everything that you've seen through Unite from a training perspective, marketing resources, sales, ordering, billing and taxation support, everything will be lined up for our contact center offering right now, and is continuing to happen. So, the ways really to get started or what's next is, first educate yourself. So in the sales portal itself, we have added a tremendous amount of information and content, from training documents to videos to data sheets to positioning documents, both horizontally and vertically. All this stuff is available to you, and it's under the contact center page. So start educating yourself. Second, decide on your business model. As I mentioned, we both support both advisor and PLR business models, and our advisor model allows you to get into your commission-based structures, and that's fine. But for organizations that need a much more stronger private label model, we have our co-branded model that allows you to determine, with the Intermedia branding and name, to go out there and take advantage of PLR-based pricing, to our gray label solution. So make the decision on what you want to do. We will support whatever it works and how it works for both MSP partners, VARs, and general partners who want to sell services. And last, I wanted to reiterate this point that everything that you need from a support perspective to win a deal, we have it. So it's important for you to contact your channel manager, but everything from business development support to sales engineering support to process to implementation, every step of the way that you need help, we are there for you. So it is, like I said, you don't need to necessarily worry about being the contact center expert. That's what we're here for, to ensure that we can drive this deal forward for you and help you along the way. So that's pretty much what we have covered today. We do appreciate the time. And as I mentioned, we're going to go a little bit over. I know we have 1 minute to cover 17 questions. Even I can't speak that quickly. But we'll go through the questions. For those of you that like to stick around and listen to that, it'd be great. The session will be recorded anyway and will be offered. But Jason, I will hand it back to you if you can maybe start bringing up the questions, and we will go through these one by one.
Sounds good. So Lilia and Andrew, if you don't mind answering, Lily, you can answer for Express, and Andrew, you can answer some of these product questions for Pro and Elite on some of these questions that don't specify which product or which tier we're talking about. But does the product offer recording all calls that is searchable, Lilia?
Well, for the Contact Center Express, we do have the inbound contact center solution, and yes, we have the ability to record all the calls. So yes, that's possible. And there is the interface where you can view and search for your recordings.
And Andrew?
Yeah, exactly the same. So that was one of the modules I showed there. So everything is recorded. We can turn on and off certain channels. So maybe turn on inbound, off outbound. But and obviously, I think someone asked a question as well. Inserting a prompt that says all calls may be recorded for quality assurance is pretty standard fare as well. And then the searchability is inside that, and obviously that recording section that I showed earlier.
Awesome. Hey, Reza, is private label available?
Yeah, absolutely. So both advisor and private label models for contact center are available. They have been fully loaded into the sales portal, and you guys can get started on it today.
Great. Lilia, is there a way for an agent to notify a supervisor that they might need a Whisper or Barge in Express?
So at the moment, every Unite user has a chat. So a chat could be a communication channel for that, but there is no built-in special feature for that. But chat is a great solution for that scenario.
Okay. Andrew?
Yeah, same answer actually. We would recommend using the internal chat. The other feature we have is flag to the supervisor. That's not real time. It's just going to send the record to the supervisor, so it's not like an emergency I need help button. So yeah, but the chat would be the best way. Or like old school, raise your hand. I need help.
All right. Lilia, can reports be scheduled?
Not at the moment, but this is the item that we have in our roadmap. So stay tuned. We will have it soon.
All right, Andrew, for Pro and Elite?
Yeah, definitely on Pro and Elite. You can schedule.
All right. Lilia, when a call enters the queue, will there be an announcement like this call may be monitored or recorded for training?
Yes, we do have this announcement. And for example, if you have your own announcement, we can turn off our default announcement. So whatever you want.
All right, Andrew?
Yeah, the same here. There's an interface in the portal, so customers are actually responsible for their own prompts in Pro and Elite. So they would, obviously we would build out the call flow and educate them as to what prompts need to be recorded based on some scripts, but absolutely, including that prompt is really important.
All right. Chandler wants to know, he saw that Call Center Express showed $20 per user to use. Does this mean agents and managers cost $20 separately? Reza, that's probably to you.
Actually, I would gear this one to Lilia.
Well, we do have a charge per user. It means we will charge you once, and then this particular user can be agent or manager or both.
All right. Will contact center reports show outbound calls for the agents as well, Lilia?
For the Contact Center Express, no, because the Contact Center Express is an inbound voice contact center, so the reports will show only inbound calls. But again, we will have a lot of enhancement from reporting perspective for the entire Unite solution. So, yeah, we'll have
All right.
it.
Andrew, I'm sure it's a different story for Pro and Elite.
Yeah, so we do obviously support outbound, and in fact we even support blended queues and agents, so you can have calls fed to outbound calls fed to your agents when they're not busy on inbound, and we provide full reporting and automation around the outbound as well.
All right, Lilia, do you support average queue time in Express?
Yes, we do have.
You mean,
All
is that an announcement that says the estimated wait time is 2 minutes? That kind of, is that what that question means? Is that how you...
we have a greeting that says, well, your number in queue is 5 and estimated wait time is, 5 minutes. And if the question is regarding reports, then we do have the average queue time in our reports. So
good. Same answer here, both live and in queue or through historical reporting.
Okay, Andrew, I think this is for you. Is there a demo for the Call Flow Designer?
Yes, and I didn't click on it today. It's a fairly elaborate tool. It allows you guys to do a lot of build, test, and deploy basically. So it comes with a little bit of training. It's not just a quick 1 hour webinar, but we do provide training for the partners that want to take that on. Absolutely. Reach out to your sales rep, and we can coordinate that for you.
Great. Chet wants to know, when will contact center pricing be added to the quote tool? Reza?
So contact center pricing will be added to the quote tool. I believe this is going to be coming up. We have this on a very short end of the roadmap. So I would expect that we would have this up and running in the next, I believe the next couple of weeks, is if I'm not correct. This is for part of the billing side of it that we're working through right now. So this will be out of the gate, I believe. I'll have to double check on this, but I believe by November 15th or so, we should have this up and running.
All right. Reza, could you tell the audience the difference between a named user and a concurrent seat pricing?
Yeah, perfect. Good, great question. So from a name user perspective, the difference here, and we talked about this earlier under Express, that named users are really defined at a 1-to-1 ratio. So in other words, a named user, that a person that has Unite, for example, when Express is added, it's added on a per user basis. So anybody that has Unite can have an Express concurrent, which is really related to more of the higher end contact center packages like Pro and Elite, essentially allows you to have generic seats that are available. So for example, if I have, an organization that is running a contact center, or an organization, not everybody needs a contact center seat, right? But I have shift work, for example, that's happening. So if I have 150, employees, but only 100 people actually need the software, then what I can do is essentially have those running concurrently, so those seats can be shared amongst different organizations. So very useful in shift work as an example. So any given time, I may not have those 100 working or 150 working, but I may need shift work requirements that are in place that allow different agents to log into the license in order to use it. So it's more geared towards organizations that really require that traditional contact center environment, and which doesn't necessarily mean that I want a 1-to-1 ratio for every single individual. So it just gives a little bit more flexibility.
All right, this might be a question for Andrew. Do these call center apps require any additional bandwidth above what Unite requires?
Yeah, a little. That's actually a great question. So there's two things that happen. One, when you log into the CCA, the minute or 30 seconds it takes to update with all the queue information, that's a quick download. So it's a little quick hit of a few hundred kilobits. It's not massive. But if you've got 100 agents all logging in at exactly the same time and they're all doing it, it could be a little bit crazy. And then from there, the CCA is just pinging the server every 7 seconds, right? That's what you guys saw in the thing. So every 7 seconds, it's getting an update. That's just a small, I think it's an 11 kilobit file. The other piece that's going to hit you is when you log into the admin portal and you hit the monitor page for the first time. So that's going to be constantly refreshing. So if you've got 30 supervisors all hitting the monitoring page at the same time, that's going to consume a little bit of bandwidth. But nothing is over and above what you would consume on a voice call. It's all below that in terms of bandwidth usage.
All right. We had several questions on this, but I'll try to make it as simple as possible. Pricing?
It's free. Yeah. So we covered the pricing sheet earlier, but as I mentioned, we have advisor-based pricing. We will have PLR-based pricing that you've seen on the screen. They are all tiered. So in other words, we have the tier levels: tier 1, tier 2, tier 3. Tier 1 offering the best pricing. All of that is based on your MRR amounts. So you essentially, based on the MRR criteria, you will be put into one of those tiers to offer better pricing. The other area listed there was NFR pricing. So NFR meaning non for resale pricing. So for organizations that want to have this the services being used for demo purposes, in-office experiences, things of that nature, that NFR pricing is available to you. We'll also give you access to certain things like betas and obviously significant discounts on Unite, and in many cases, free applications that can be used and tested out. So that's kind of the pricing structure that we went through earlier. But if there are any more questions about this, as I said, contact your channel manager. They can go through any number of details based on your specific scenario.
Great. We do have a question. This might be to Mark Schur if he's available, but Reza, these come with the JD Power support?
So the JD Power support, yes and no. So JD Power support relates obviously to our services that we offer right now. So what that really means is that when support is being shared amongst, say, for example, in a PLR environment, it needs to be used with caution. So in other words, JD Power typically falls into the area where Intermedia is supporting all the aspects, tier 1 to tier 3. In many cases, though, we've had situations where JD Power is being leveraged and used. We just need to be cautious in how that actually relates in the discussion right now. So it really depends on the scenario and the business model that you choose in order to leverage that.
All right. Kent wants to know, Lilia, he just wants a clarification. Omnichannel capability is not offered in Express, correct?
Yes, that's correct.
All right. Let's see. Lilia, are there any auto alerts or toast or pop messages for agents when certain situations are present, like call waiting in queue for a certain amount of time? Does that happen in Express?
If we're talking about alerts or messages for agents, we don't have it at the moment. The only thing that we can propose, the real-time dashboard that shows metrics, and these metrics are also highlighted with color, green, orange, and red. So this is what you can, as an agent, you can use as a guideline.
All right, Pro and Elite, Andrew?
Yeah, so kind of our stance on that is there's definitely alerts and pop-up messages for certain situations, but they're for the supervisors and managers, not the agents, right? The agents get delivered the calls based on their skill-based routing schema. They don't get to choose when and how to take them necessarily. So there's definitely Slack integration, email alerts that we can propose for certain queue conditions, like an unattended queue, long wait time. And then I think if you guys remember the dashboard that I was showing in the monitor page, we can also set colorful threshold alerts that will alert supervisors or anybody that's watching the dashboard that there is something going sideways.
Great, thanks. We're going to take just a few more questions. Is there a contract term required on any of these packages? Reza?
I'll answer that question. No, there is not. So one of the benefits of working with Intermedia as an organization is these packages do not require any contracts. So you are free to sell this as a month-to-month service We rely on our partners to obviously sell and our amazing support that hopefully allows our customers to stay with us. But these are contract free.
Okay. If somebody wants to upgrade from Express to Pro or Elite, what's required there? Reza, can you answer that?
So as it relates to moving between, say, Pro and Elite, there is a transparency that exists there. So it's a simple transparency between moving from a Pro to an Elite account today. As it relates to Express, moving to this, the experience that we have in Pro and Elite, it has very similar capabilities, but there would be a different interface that would be used between moving from Express to Pro. Now, what we are doing right now is actually having a much more seamless transition between Express and Pro. It's part of our roadmap and a next version of this that will be launched at the end of this year that will allow for a much more seamless transition. But in either scenario right now, the impact of this, as I mentioned, will not necessarily impact the customer's ability from moving between packages. Is that the experience between Express and versus Pro and Elite is slightly different. But capability-wise, they will have very similar capabilities. Express will within the Pro and Elite, just obviously more sophistication. And then I mentioned between Pro and Elite, there is a very seamless transition. So it's just adding on capabilities based on that same user interface.
Great. Joe, I'm not going to read this whole question to you, but long story short, they'd like to know if they're white labeling this solution, they don't have a ton of time to learn the product. Are they going to be able to get help from a sales team or an overlay team, something like that from Intermedia if they're white labeling?
They're going to have to beat us away with a stick, the amount of help that we're going to give them, to be very honest. There's no shortage of help in terms of everything from inside sales campaigns to collateral support, webinars like this, even going on site, depending on the size of the opportunity. We'll fly salespeople out site to help progress a sale. So literally, there's no end to the sale. We call it co-selling, right? So it's a collaborative approach. We believe in the channel partner framework, and when the channel succeeds, we succeed. So we invest in it heavily.
Great. Yeah, and that accessibility is all available through your channel manager. As soon as you flag them, they will get the right people involved at any stage of the deal to make sure that we can push it through.
All right. Reza, are there bundled volume pricing for either of these options?
Absolutely. We have volume pricing that is available across all three options right now. So it depends on the size of the deal and the structure. Channel managers have that information. I mean, they can go through that with you in detail, but absolutely we have volume-based pricing.
All right. Is there chat integration with Skype for Business? Joe?
No. Sorry, it's Andrew here.
No,
Andrew?
no, we don't.
Yeah, so the client, the Pro and Elite client, comes with its own internal chat, as well as if you sign up for omnichannel or add it, external chat, so we can embed a URL on your website. It inherits your CSS files. It can be both proactive, Flash-based chat or reactive chat, and it's just a URL and you embed. The Skype for Business chat client would be something completely separate.
All right. Reza, if a client has 50 users, can you have some on Express and some on Pro? Does that work?
So the mix and match capabilities that they're describing right now are not available as of yet. However, this is something that we are building in the roadmap, first versions that we're looking to have probably by the end of the year, early January timeframe.
All right. Are recordings downloadable to take offline? Lilia, how about for Express?
Well, yes, there is an ability to download the recordings and, store whenever you want to.
All right. Andrew, for Pro and Elite, I assume?
Yeah, you can download to your own appliance, SFTP. You can download in files directly. You can stream them, or you can even bring your own cloud storage with Azure or Amazon and keep your files there. So lots of different options on Pro and Elite.
All right. Joe, who specifically can our partners call to get questions answered if the rep just doesn't know all the info yet?
Well, Reza touched on that nicely. All contacts should be going through the channel rep. So whoever your existing channel manager is, everything should go through that person. That individual will pull from wherever is needed, whether it be needing sales assistance, needing collateral, needing further information on pricing, anything that's needed. The channel manager, it remains the focal point of contact, and they will reach out to us for anything that's needed.
All right. What are the click-to-call features available if you're not running a CRM? Lilia, do you have any click-to-call features available?
Well, with the Unite desktop, we do have a click-to-call features. We do have the plugin to Chrome. So, yeah, you can have these features with your Unite desktop as well as Contact Center Express.
All right, Andrew?
So our application is not a phone, which makes it tougher to click to dial, obviously, but we have developed an API that customers can consume and embed that will trigger an outbound call right through the application. And I didn't really show it in the demo, but we can show it another time, but we've embedded it inside Salesforce. So if you have a client that's using Salesforce, they can just click a button and initiate an outbound call.
All righty. Well, I think that's all the time that we have for questions now. I want to thank all of our presenters. Reza, Joe, thank you so much. I really appreciate the deep dive into this, and Lily and Andrew couldn't ask for better, quick demos from all of you. So partners, everybody who's on the line, thank you so much for attending. We really appreciate you staying long. I know this ran long, but I could see there was a lot of interest today, and we really appreciate you being here. If you have any questions at all, please reach out to your Intermedia sales rep. We'll get those questions answered. Later on today, this recorded presentation will show up in the sales portal. You'll be able to click in there and find it. We'll also be sending out follow-up emails, so you can go in, click on the link, and you'll be able to find your way to this recorded presentation. Again, if you have any questions at all, let us know. Thanks again to all the presenters. Thank you all, and we'll see you very soon in a future presentation. Thank you.
Thanks, Jason.
Thank you.